Hi guys, welcome back to another podcast episode. I'm so happy to see you guys. Obviously, we're on my iPad today. We're on my iPad. Why? Because for some reason my microphone just has not been working in a sense of like connecting to my laptop. So I'm gonna just do the next best thing. Like, hello, we're being convenient and we're problem solving and we're making ends meet. And that's all that matters, okay? I'm really excited because I feel like I've had like just like a lot of things to talk about for a really long time, and it's just been a matter of like, how do I put this all into one podcast episode? I finally have put in my 2 weeks for my job in the morning, and I'm gonna kind of like get into that in this episode, but that was a really hard decision. I feel like I am someone who's just grown really like attached to working a lot, and I honestly couldn't tell you why. Actually, no, I could. When I couldn't afford to go to college right out of high school because I wasn't getting any like scholarships or any money out of that, I genuinely felt like I failed myself, and I would constantly compare my life to other people because that's when I got my first job. When I started working, that's when everybody was like moving in, and like I remember my like friend at the time, like I would go to her house and she'd be like, "Oh, like do you want to help me pack for college?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, sure." Yeah. Yeah, like I would just be like, I guess, very envious of other people because that's something that I really wanted, because I had imagined college right out of high school for me to just be a fresh start and like a new opportunity to start a new life, and just like all of these things that I thought I couldn't accomplish by staying at home, which I was just so wrong about. So I just had no choice. I was like, I need to fill up my time, like I need to distract myself. And through the course of time it just became something that's like, oh, like I'm kind of losing the reason why I started doing this, because then I don't need to distract myself, and then I don't feel less than, and I don't compare my life to the lives of other people, and I can feel very secure in that, and I can feel very good in that, and I can even feel very proud of myself for the life that I have started to establish for myself within the span of 2 years that I have been working and holding up multiple jobs and just like being at home. Sorry, you guys know I have a cat. She likes to run around. This is her world. I actually got a tattoo of her, actually, because I love her so much. I have a tattoo of a cat on my hip. I just got that, actually, and I love it. I love it. Because I love my cat, duh. But yeah, honestly, and I think that like ropes into today's episode because I do want to talk to you guys about choosing yourself, and choosing yourself in an authentic way. I think for a lot of the things that I talk about, excuse me, on my podcast, for a lot of things that I talk about in general, one thing that I think has just been really, really weird and really, really funny is that having a podcast now is just something that means a lot more to me than it did before. I feel like I'm just really like, I'm so completely and 100% grateful because I've seen my podcast flourish in a way that I never thought it necessarily would. I post my podcast clips on TikTok, I post them on Instagram sometimes, and I post them on YouTube. I try to expose myself and my podcast in ways that sometimes feel embarrassing, sometimes feel like I'm oversharing, sometimes feel like I'm telling too much about myself, sometimes it feels like I'm giving the opposite something to talk about. Like, that's what it feels like, even though now that's what it felt like, and now it just feels like, oh, like i'm I'm investing into the things that I know that I'm good at. I'm investing my talents and my hobbies, and I'm just putting that on a platform that other people can see how I invest in myself. um and I've seen how I've watered into the things that I'm doing, and I see how it's starting to sprout. My podcast account on TikTok has started to grow, and I just don't think I could explain how like amazed and astonished I am that people actually like are listening to what I have to say and relate to it. I started my podcast with that intention, like, oh, I want it to be relatable and I wanted people to reach what I'm saying and feel connected to what I'm experiencing, because as human beings, we have so many like different ups and downs, and like there's just so much duality to how we present ourselves. Honestly, like I feel like people could look at how I am on the outside and look at me from a very external view and think she has her shit together, her life is good, stable, like there's a lot of stability in her life, but internally and like sometimes like mentally, I really do go through it in the worst ways. Even emotionally, I go through it in the worst ways. And I try to expose myself and even parts of myself in a very vulnerable way that allows the things that we go through to be destigmatized and to just reach a sense of vulnerability in my own personal life and just like feel reached. So I don't know, to just like condense it down, I'm just grateful and I feel very, pleased with how my podcast is growing and thriving, and that makes me happy. And to even know that like it's okay, pouring into myself and my craft has even allowed me to keep myself accountable in my own life, which I think is so weird. But and I know I always talk about this, guys, and I'm sorry, because this is just something that I feel like I really can connect. I think being in love, being in relationships, being with people, it really can expose a very insecure version of yourself, and even just a very like different side of who we are. I think it's so funny because when people do start dating, you know how we always talk about like, oh, like, okay, for me, an example, I had a best friend in high school and we were best friends. That's my best friend. But whenever she would get a man, like baby, I didn't exist. Okay. You didn't know who I was. You wouldn't even think like we're still friends, because she wouldn't text me. She wouldn't call me. She wouldn't want to hang out. She wouldn't talk to me. She'd always be with that man. Like, I was an afterthought. Ooh, it was like, ooh, I hope you have your own set of friends, because baby, you just lost your best friend to a man. And I think we do switch up on the people that are close to us, and we even switch up on ourselves. And that is something that I had just evidently seen in my last relationship, is how I'm, for lack of better terms, I say I'm begging someone to choose me, but I don't think it was that black and white. I just think I was staying in a space where I knew the answer to something, and I was like begging for a reply when I already knew it. I already heard it. And I also am just keeping ties to someone in my life who I know shouldn't be in my life, just for the sake of comfortability and familiarity. And I was telling myself, like, I feel like a hypocrite. I feel like I tell my friends, I tell the people in my closest circle to always put themselves first, to always choose people who are choosing them, to always respect your intuition, to always respect your feelings, to respect your boundaries, to respect your body, to respect yourself on a different level. And here I am not doing that. Here I am giving people advice on how to choose yourself and choose yourself authentically. And I'm in a space where I'm begging to be chosen. And because of that, and because of this mentality and this mindset that I've had, it's allowed me to stop choosing other people more than I choose me. I think in my life, I've realized how I truly am the standard, and nobody else can come into my life and tell me how to feel or treat or think about myself, because, hi, kitty cat, I so authentically know how to do that on my own. I think one thing that I definitely like hold on to very near and dear is that I have for a very long time wanted other people to pour into my cup, and I have for a very long time felt very sad when they weren't doing it in the ways that I wanted to. And I think we always talk about like choose you, love you, respect you, but that shit is hard, okay? That is the hardest thing I think you can ever do, especially as someone, like I've previously said on podcast episodes before, I'm so prone and so quick to put other people before me because I love people so much that, the way that I've explained it is I'm trying to save you from the burning fire, not worried about getting burned myself. Like, the house is on fire and I'm trying to save you. I don't care about getting burned. I just want to make sure that you are okay. And that can be very romantic, very poetic, very full of love, but it's only full of love in a one-sided aspect because it's not being reciprocated. The house is burning down and they're trying to save themselves. The house is burning down and I'm trying to save you. I don't care about me. And I realized that I need to care about me a lot more. And it allowed me to start making the steps to do so. It allowed me to wash my hands of places that I know I'm not supposed to be in. It allowed me to remove myself out of the lives of people who don't care if I live or die. I've stopped being like, you know how people are like, do you like me? Do you hate me? Like, I feel like you hate me sometimes. If I have to ask myself, do you hate me? If I have to question the position that I have in your life, the security in which I'm in it, the feelings that you have towards me, that's my answer. You don't like me enough. You don't respect me enough. You don't care about me enough. And that's my sign to go. Because I think staying in a position where you know, hey, this person isn't, the feelings that I share with them are not mutual. The way that I feel about them is one-sided. You're going to continuously feel discouraged. You're going to continuously feel taken advantage of. It's like, I always do say, pour into cups that pour into you, and it's hard because walking away from relationships that really matter to you, knowing that they don't matter as deeply and as much to somebody else, it feels like a slap in the face because I think a lot, and I'm like, I wonder why this person didn't love me and care about me and value me, my friendship, my relationship, my partnership to them in the same ways that I did with them. And I really think it comes down to the fact that some people just don't love as deeply or understand as deeply as you do, and you cannot hold them to the capacity and the depth that you abide in. I can love to a standard of this high, and I could love someone who loves to a standard of this high. I can't be mad at you because you can't meet me at my standard. This is your standard. Now, and I'm either going to lower myself to meet you where you're at, or you're going to feel like you're breaking your neck to meet me where I'm at. And I don't think either are good. I do think people should motivate you, push you, challenge you to grow, to be better, to do more. But you should never feel like you're losing yourself to meet somebody else, and you should never feel like you're lowering yourself to meet somebody else. I don't think that's fair. That's not choosing you. Choosing you is being in a space where you feel like your needs are being perfectly met. Choosing you is being in a space where you feel like everything in your life is being reciprocated. Choosing you is also not putting yourself in positions, spaces, and places where you feel like you need to do more to fit in. I've been alone for a really long time. I have been actively, like, this is an active choice of singleness, of celibacy, of, now, to not have friends was not a personal choice. At first it was. I removed myself from a lot of circles and spaces because I knew the person that I was becoming and I was walking into was not a good person. I know that in a lot of aspects I was not a good friend. I know in a lot of aspects I was not a good best friend. I know in a lot of spaces that I was not a good person to even be around. And I've done the whole like turnaround thing that I needed to do, not to show someone, oh, hey, this is why you should have me back in your life. This is why you should welcome me back into your circle. But because I just knew, like, this is going to be the way that I work on myself now is going to be who I am into the adult world and in my adult life. And if I'm already burning bridges by being who I am now, I'm going to have burned everything down to the ground and have nothing when I'm older. And I can't do that to myself. I can't live in a refusal to change. Living in a refusal to change, I think, isn't even a decision of choosing yourself actively. I think we look at change as something uncomfortable. The brain looks at change as something that's so unfamiliar that when we are walking in processes of change, we often choose comfort over challenge because the brain gets intimidated and unfamiliarized with the new patterns that you're trying to establish within your own life. So you often stumble and fall back into old behaviors. That's something that I've done so many times. Even being in spaces of boredom where I know the change that I've, like, we often misconstrue boredom with peace and peace with boredom because for me, I've lived in a space of chaos. I've made chaotic decisions. I'm impulsive. I can be very impulsive. I'm so used to, and this is something that has just been such a challenge in my life that I used to really get into it with my mom a lot because she would try. I'm like Sonic the Hedgehog, okay? This is my analogy of the day. I'm Sonic running at 150 miles per hour, and my mom is trying to slow me down and get me to go at a steady pace, like 50 miles per hour. And I would do a lot of tasks and not finish them. I started a lot of projects and not completed them. I have a lot of hobbies that have gotten abandoned. I've picked up jobs and left job after job after job. I've had 9 jobs in the past year, okay? My mom told me that I'm not allowed to quit and get a new job. If I hate my job, I either suck it up or I quit and I have one job. I didn't quit my job necessarily because I hate it. I love my job. I'm just so burnt out that I had to put myself first and, you know, not feel like I can overdo it. Like I'm taking the lessons that my mom has established into my life about slowing down and, you know, refusing burnout and refusing emotional exhaustion and mental fatigue and even physical fatigue by slowing down and pacing myself. Sorry guys, I'm burping. And pacing myself in what I need to do and accomplish in my life and making that applicable to not have to balance 2 jobs, school, gym, sleep, rest, relaxation, hobbies, podcasting, things like that. I don't have time to do all the things that I want to do in the day. I don't. A lot of things, like, one of the biggest reasons why the podcast setup is not set up is because my room looks like Jumanji. Like, it looks like I threw 6 bombs and just let this blow up. Like, that's what it looks like in here. Clothes, like, you see the canopy. I use it as a hanging rack to put clothes away. Clothes that I've did the laundry and I said, I'm gonna put this away later and probably took a nap. So it's been a week and I'm still staring at them. And the only reason it's not getting done right now is because it's almost 11 o'clock and I have to be up at 6 in the morning. So, I always have to mentally process, like, I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna do this. And I do have to slow myself down a lot of the time and try to accomplish one thing before I move on to the next thing. And that is very hard for me. So, I have been kind of applying certain lessons that I've learned in my life to make my life a little bit easier. I think, we take the concept of choosing yourself and choosing yourself authentically in a very relational basis and aspect. I genuinely believe, I think everything is always connected to love, relationships, dating, partnership, friendship. But let's slow that down and take all of that out of the equation because, yes, that is a big part of humans. That's a big part of our society, our generation. That's something we talk about a lot. That's something we just are so fixated on. But that's been the least focus of my life. Like, let's pick that up, throw it to the side, and let's pretend it doesn't even exist. The biggest focus in my life, genuinely, like I've said, has been me. And choosing myself has just been really hard because that comes with a lot of self-realizations. That comes with a lot of accountability and my own faults. That comes a lot with change. And that, I think, has just been very uncomfortable. Ever since September, I feel like my life has been like up and then boom, straight down. And as much as I wanted to be like angered about how much I've gone through within like 6, 7 months, 7 months, I'm grateful for what I've produced out of it. I wrote in my notes, oops, dropped my phone. I wrote in my notes, um, it's easy to live a life of envy when you're not actively creating a life you could be proud of. I think I have for a really long time, and for a really long time we all do, live a life of comparing ourselves and what other people have to us and what other people are doing to us, and we allow ourselves to just feel inadequate on basis of, well, this person's doing this and this person has this and this person's going to school here and this person is living this life and this person moved out and this person got their own car and got 2 extra cars. This person has this career. And that was me, like I said, when I first like graduated high school, when I seen everybody going to college, when I was working my 2 jobs, and I was like, damn, ain't nobody else working 2 jobs, ain't nobody else have 3 jobs, ain't nobody else have to do this, nobody else is work. Slow down, collect yourself, relax. Nobody else is living your life. Nobody else wants your life the way that you think they do, because nobody else knows the adversity, the trials, the hardships that it took you to get to where you're at. Focusing so deeply on what somebody else is doing means you're not investing enough time into yourself to focus on what you got going on. If you feel like you are constantly on your phone comparing yourself to other people on social media, comparing your looks, comparing your life, comparing your body type, you are doing too much time consumed in the lives and the business of other people. And that all of that energy that you're spending doing that, you could spend investing in you. You feel like you're so like, and I'm trying to be like, guys, because I know this is a society where, baby, I could get easily canceled, but you're spending so much time. Like, we'll use me for an example because I am a very devoted gym girl, but I haven't been in the gym in months. And sometimes I think what's so funny is if we're not really comparing ourselves to other people, we're comparing ourselves to past versions of ourselves. And this in either negative or positive ways, I think we can even look at our past and be like, I hate that I was like this, or I hate that I was this person. And um to walk in a space of choosing you is even walking in a space of accepting who you are and who you were. And that's how you continue to choose you going forward, by taking the things and the building blocks that got you to where you are and just putting the paste on the stone and putting one stone on top of the other and letting it just elevate you to keep you going up. I think, obviously, like I said, to go back to my example that I was trying to establish, but in a space of comparison, I compared myself to, like, let me see, like me a year ago when I would go to the gym every single day, all the time, day and night, lived in the gym. That was me. And I would just feel very like insecure and like hard on myself for not really looking the same that I did, not really working out the same, not really like being on the same dietary like notion that I was on. And I'm like, I'm spending so much time obsessing over what I used to do and being mad at myself for what I used to do and no longer doing it. But I could just start now and like reestablish, you know, what it is I want to do. I could just pour into myself now instead of reminiscing on what I was doing or what I was like or who I was, you know? You're spending so much time obsessing over the lives of other people, and you could spend that time creating a life that you can obsess over, you can be pleased with, you can be happy about, you know? I think that we underestimate the adversity of putting you first and choosing you in all aspects, in every aspect, because it's not a simple thing. I know that we say, like, you're your biggest priority, you're most important, you need to love you, but like, just how hard is that? Like, it was hard for me to quit my job. It was hard for me to put in my 2 weeks. I've prayed about it and I've cried about it because it's not something that I wanted to do, but it's like the fatigue that I feel every single day just is immeasurable. It's like I'm tired of being tired, and I'm tired of not having the balls enough to quit because I'm tired. And I keep telling myself, like, maybe one day I'll just wake up and I won't be exhausted anymore. But that day just hasn't come. And it was a hard decision, but I know that I'm choosing a future where I'm not feeling fatigued, I'm getting things done, I'm focused more on school, I'm focused more on the stepping stones that I need to do to go to another school, and I'm allowing myself to pour into me in a way that, you know, isn't harmful, but it's helpful. And I think it's even hard because choosing you means taking a risk and a leap of faith in things that you just don't know what's gonna happen. I think what's also made it hard is that I'm so used to being dependent on other people and having other people help me and guide me and make decisions for me and lead me and move with me through things, but I don't have nobody and I don't need nobody to help me navigate or go through anything that I'm going through, which I know I've talked about on this podcast because I'm just someone who I've been an overshare. I loved to overshare. Now I wouldn't dare tell you what color socks I have on. Like, that's not important. Why do you need to know that? I think it's like I've learned to value the intimacy of just being myself. Like, literally. Like, I think that as someone who just, I would give you unlimited chances. I would let people walk all over me. I would beg people to stay into my life. I would beg people to choose me, beg people to love me, beg people to value me, beg people to respect me. I'm so tired of that. Like, oh no, no, no. Oh baby, you gotta go. Like, you gotta go. I don't think there serves me any point in waiting for you to see my worth when I see it when I look in the mirror. You like, you know? And I don't think I mean, like, obviously I don't mean that in a conceited way, but I just really have worked so hard to know who I am. And I know that that's because there were points in my life where I was letting people tell me who I was. I was letting people define me, and I was running around with those definitions. I was letting people label me, and I was writing that label on the front of my forehead and the back of my on a back piece of paper and putting it on my back and letting this be who I am. Letting people just define who I am, I didn't know who I was. And I'd always mask and pretend like, oh yeah, I know who I am, but get in the face of other people and completely lose sight of what I believe, what I know, you know, what I feel. Even just in like argument, like not even arguments, but say like debates. I could stand so firm in an opinion, but I feel like you're judging me for mine, that now I need to over explain, over, you know, extend myself, you know, like kind of get you to see where I'm coming from. And you don't need to overdo anything. That's another thing. Sorry guys, I have so many things, but that's another thing, is you don't have to find and fit placement for people to like make their way into your life. And you don't need to, like, you know, people are not chess pieces, and your life is not like a game of checkers or chess. You know, what's meant for you will just fall into place for you. You never have to beg, you never have to ask, you never have to plead. And you can definitely well assess what another person is aiding and attributing to your life and what they're minusing and subtracting from it. Okay, and even just looking at yourself, because choosing you means that, one, that sets a big precedent for the people that come into your life, that they see how unapologetically you are about yourself and how authentic you are, and just putting you first, respecting you and choosing you, that it conditions people to know how to treat you. If you see that, and we'll pick up the ball on dating again, because I've been in the dating pool. I've been going on dates. You know, like I said, I feel like a hypocrite because I know I said like that's not the forefront of my life, but you know, a girl won't refuse a free meal. Like, I won't refuse a little hangout. Like, I'm so interested in getting to know people. Like, that's dope. I'm dope. You're dope. Like, okay. And just getting into the dating pool, I've put myself back out. Like, oh, take me out of this. Because I've just seen that one, like, without sounding like really bad, but one, people are used to people who just go for anything and everything, just going. Like, and I don't even mean that in a like, oh, they're going like they're easy. Like, you know, I don't mean that in a sexual basis. I just mean that in a, there's no need to, there's no wow factor. There's no, let me impress you. You know, like people think like the impression is you taking interest in me. So, like, that's not, because I take interest in me and I take interest in people and I'm interested in getting to know people and I love getting to know people and I love connecting with people. But, you know, like being in the dating pool, like, I've literally got in an argument with a man over flowers because I said I wanted flowers. And I didn't even tell him, go buy me flowers. I just said, like, we were literally having a conversation and I had said, like, oh, yeah, like, I expect flowers on a first date. All hell broke loose. I could promise you that. Oh, just no. And the only reason I think that is because I buy myself flowers every month. I buy myself flowers when I see flowers when I see a bouquet that I think is cute, when I do something good. When I pass my permit test, I bought myself flowers because I was proud of myself. Literally, when I started my job, when I first started my job working with middle schoolers, I had probably been there for a week, maybe two. And for my birthday, they all made me pipe cleaner flowers. We've known each other for 2 weeks. I'm feeling so touched and so loved. Not that everything in my life has to be materialistic, that not everything in my life, I'm not saying everybody got to come up and buy me some flowers. Like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that I put effort into people, I pour into myself. That's what I want, and that's my standard. And I'm not going to lessen that, and I'm not going to make it more. Like, that's just where I'm at. And I don't know, just like seeing that, you know, I treat myself very well and I want myself to have the things that I work for, and I want to feel good because I don't want to come into the lives of other people expecting them to do something for me that they have no obligation to do. I just want to do it for me. But because I do these things for me, I do also want people to pour into me because I know I would love and I am more than capable of pouring deeply into other people. And that's what I think about a lot. That's how I feel a lot of the time. I hate reflecting and thinking about how many times I poured into people who poured nothing into me. So I just make sure that I'm very precautious that you see how well I pour into myself, because I spend so much time pouring into other people. I spend so much time loving people more than I loved myself. And it hurts and it sucks and it's so, so terrible. It's so terrible. People will be in your face and say that they have respect for you, they care about you, and they love you, and their actions are so completely different from their words. And it almost makes you feel like a fool for believing every word that they've had to say. It makes you question your own judgment. It makes you question your intuition. But I think the baseline of it is that we love people so much that we choose them over us, and we allow them to continue to choose them over us, you know? People will deceive you and have no issues with it. And people will apologize for things that they're not sorry for. The only way to avoid this is to have such a strong relationship with yourself that it's like, I see you're not treating me good, so I'm gonna go. And the only reason I'm gonna leave you is not because I don't love you and I won't miss this connection, and it's not because I don't value this friendship or, you know, you being in my life, but it's because I don't feel like I'm being treated the way that I want to be treated. And when I always talk like this, I always think about like, and when I was in elementary school, we'd always talk about the golden rule. And I'd always be like, girl, shut up. Like, oh, shut up. Like, this is so stupid. But the baseline of life is literally treat others how you want to be treated. The Bible is literally love your neighbor how you love yourself. And that is so big. Love your neighbor how you love yourself. The way that you love you, the way that you feel about you, the way that you treat you, the way that you care about yourself will impact how you treat other people, and it will impact how they treat you. Because, excuse me, a person who knows you ain't going for the BS, because sorry, I was about to cuss, but I forgot. I'm a PG-13 account. People who know you're not going for the bull, they'll make sure to not put you through the crap. Like, I promise you. If a person knows, like, oh, like, I will never forget my ex told me, ooh, sorry guys, because like, this is gonna seem so like bad, but I've never really been with anybody who had like standards or self-respect. Sorry. This is young me though, like guys, I was young, okay? I was a child. But I remember like they had said something. They were like, oh, like if you do this, like I'm not even gonna bring it up, I'm just gonna leave. And I was like, wait, you're just gonna leave? I'm like, wait, you respect yourself that much that you know you're not really going for none of this? Because when I'm ice skating, baby, I'm a figure skate. When I'm on thin ice, ooh, I become a Olympic figure skater. Like I will skate on that thin ice. And sorry, is that bad to admit? Like I don't know. I would just be like, oh okay, let me see how far I can go, because like you know I can get an inch. Let's see how far is a mile. And no, like, and mind you, this is young me, guys. I'm like 17. Please, like, please give me some grace. I'm finna be 20. Like I've grown. This was me 3 years ago. But seeing somebody who was like, no, like I don't really play like that, like I will leave you at anything that I feel like you're hurting me and inconveniencing me. I was like, oh wait wait, because people, I think in this society and generation especially, love to work things out and love to get, sorry if I clock your tea, but love to get cheated on and think you can mend the cheating and think you can grow from being cheated on. And a lot of people think like you can put somebody through the ringer and they're just gonna stay. But the reality of that is, no, baby, wash your hands and get gone. Like don't look back too. When you leave, never look back. Never look back at nobody. Like just keep going forward. And I think like establishing a standard within like yourself, within your own like your boundaries, within like the I love myself so much that I'm not going to go through this. I'm not going to go through this again if you've already gone through it, and I'm not ever going to start going through it, you know? Never say never to anything, but always put yourself first to where you don't have to go through everything, okay? And yeah, honestly, this podcast episode is very long. And I'm sorry because I've been trying to shorten them. I really have. But that's it. I'm honestly gonna make a part 2 about this because y'all know I have so much to talk about when it comes to just choosing you, because that's something that I'm actively going through in my life right now. But yeah, like that's it, honestly. I love you guys so much. I hope you laughed. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you listened. I hope you related. I hope we're getting in a space of comfort with one another. I hope you're familiar with me just like I'm getting familiar with you. If you guys enjoyed this podcast episode, definitely subscribe. Send this to your friends, you know, like if you, and of course my laptop died, but as I was saying, if you guys enjoyed, please follow and like and subscribe. If you want more content, follow me on Instagram at India Watson. And if you want to see my clips on TikTok, follow me at The Divine Cupid. And I will see you guys next week.